Hi, my name is Carolyn. We are a family of four. We live in Southwest sunny Florida. It is me, my husband, and our two kids, Kaden and Callie. Kaden just turned 5 on September 6th, and Callie is 2. She'll be turning 3 April 4th. So we just wanted to come here and talk about our homeschooling journey, past, present, and future, what's going on in our lives, why we decided to go on this journey, etc., etc. So right now, Kaden, at a very young age, we can tell that he was full of life. He's a very active kid, and we can tell that was his learning style at a very young age. He didn't want to just sit and open a book and learn from the book. The way that he learned the most is if we're outside doing interactive things. I remember specifically when we were reviewing words, I would have him like do a cartwheel in the living room and then do 2 spins and then come over and find the word that we're looking for. And then when we're about to do the next word, he has to do his little trick, come over and find the next word. That's just how his brain functioned the best, is just interactive learning and not just sitting in one spot and try to be fed all this information and be able to comprehend completely. And we really saw ourselves, myself and my husband, we saw ourselves in Kaden. And neither of us had really good school experiences when it comes to learning and the information that we were being fed. We had 2 completely different experiences, but at the same time, they were very similar in that sense. So my husband has his own stories, but he was put in a lot of extra classes because he was falling behind in speech and reading and different things like that. But when he would be pulled out of class, his class would still move on. So he might have been caught up on some things, but by the time he got back in the classroom, they already moved on for other things. So he just continuously kept falling behind. So that was just part of his experience. That was kind of a lot of his experience. And even throughout some of his school years, he actually was brought home to homeschool as well. We'll have him tell his story another day. But that's kind of like the gist of his. And he just feels like he never actually was able to learn his best way of learning because he was never given that opportunity in the school system. And we kind of struggle with that as adults too. It's something that we're trying to figure out now, and we don't want to put our kids through that. We want to try to help them learn right now and figure out their learning style at a younger age so they don't have to experience any issues or anxiety or anything like that when they get older and they're trying to figure things out then. So with me, I remember as young as 2nd grade, I was struggling with reading comprehension a lot. And honestly, even to this day, like I said, we're still kind of trying to manage it. Like, I remember my mom put me in Sylvan Learning Center and all these extra things to try and help me grasp, and I was never getting it because, again, they were just kind of tailoring to one type of learning style. Sitting down at the desk and listening to a teacher say stuff and me having to read a textbook was never the way that I learned properly. And then even when they pulled me out and put me in Sylvan Learning Center, we were still at desks. Yeah, it was a smaller group, but we were still doing the same thing. They were still having me read off a piece of paper, and if I need help, she's there. She would try to help me read through it, and it was never like hands-on learning or brought to me in a different setting, like outside, and use like hands-on things. It was never presented in a different way for my style of learning. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I finally figured out the best form of learning. And again, we don't want to put our kids through that. That's just not something that we want them to have to experience. So that is one big reason why we even originally started looking into homeschool and different styles of learning, because we can already see that in Kaden. He already has anxiety as a young kid, and I have anxiety, my husband has anxiety, and we're kind of wanting to break that now with him and Callie and try to figure it out and let them express and do all the research that we can as a parent to try and prevent his anxiety from growing, and just trying to give him the best school experience as he can, and or as we can. And that is going to be done at home with us, and that's how we establish that. Now, there's so many things wrong with the school system nowadays. A lot is opinions and a lot is facts. Either way, they're all pretty much facts. But now sometimes you do have students who learn well in that style of learning that is taught throughout school, the only one style of learning, which is great. If your kid thrives in the school setting, then you're great, you're golden. Now, on top of that, there's a lot of other issues. Now, I see a lot of people who want to bring their kids home because they're not thriving in school. They can't sit still at the desk, they're not learning, and that's kind of where we're at. But then on the other end, I see a lot of parents whose kids do great in school, but now for other reasons they're wanting to bring them home for more safety reasons, like the school shootings, the school threats, and things like that kids do not have to be dealing with as kids. So no matter what your reason is for wanting to start homeschooling, we're all on the same page and we all have the same end goal, which is teaching our kids in the most safest and best way possible. And just trying to tailor to them as the kids and not just one style of learning. Now, we personally feel that there's a lot of issues with the school system itself. There's a laundry list of examples that I can give, but let's just say, for starters, we've done a lot of research recently about our bodies, our kids' bodies, our minds, and how everything really works, and how we're trying to figure out how to remove anxiety and how to really get a grasp on our bodies. The sooner the better, because we're in our adult years and we're struggling with anxiety and different things like that, and we don't want our kids to go through that. So we're trying to do as much research and make as many changes, positive changes, as we can, just to start them out on a fresh foot. So for an example, a big part of starting your day fresh and good is getting a good night's sleep. And you can say obviously, but getting a good night's sleep, getting to bed at a good time, and then letting your body wake up naturally. Now, obviously, when you're going to school, you have to, I don't know, many kids who wake up before their alarm goes off when they're going to school or have to catch the bus or anything like that. But not many. So most kids are having to be woken up by their parents or an alarm. Oop, we're having stuff falling down. So they're breaking their sleep cycle from the beginning, from the start of the day, and that's not setting your body up for a good, positive day ahead of you, okay? And we're supposed to be getting our body, we're supposed to be getting our body started on a good note to learn. There's hours and hours and hours in a school day, and you're trying to set your body up to learn and take in all this information, and starting the day by an interrupted sleep schedule is not a good start. Now also, hey, I'm sorry, relax. Now, I don't know what time all your kids are waking up, but let's just say it's early. My husband saw kids getting on the bus at 4:30 in the morning the other day. That is absolutely insane for your kids to start school or start their day at 4:30 to have a full day of learning ahead of them. That is just not the way to start. And now we're also really big into the foods that we're eating and the things that are being put in our foods, like the seed oils and sugar and what else? Just tons of chemicals that are being put into our foods that are affecting our brains and bodies and not letting them function to their best potential. So again, if you're waking up that early in the morning, I don't know what parents are cooking a full breakfast starting that early. I know I wouldn't be, so most parents are just giving their kids something quick on the go, which again is probably like a granola bar or cereal or something along those lines, which are filled with seed oils, sugar and probably die. So it's just not setting your kids up for a good situation. And now honestly, the school lunches aren't that much better because they're still filled with all those things. Your milk that your kids are probably eating at school probably has seed oils in it. It's just a continuous cycle through the school system that is just setting your kids up for failure, and you don't even realize it. There's one learning style that is being taught in the school system, and if you don't fall under that one learning style, then you're going to be falling behind. You're going to start thinking that you're less than because you don't have that one learning style, which doesn't mean anything. Just because you don't learn the same as somebody else, just because you can't listen to a teacher and read a book and then ace a test, doesn't mean that you can't learn exactly what everyone else is learning, but you just need to be presented in a different way, and the school system does not allow that to happen. Sitting in desks, we don't hit, baby. Okay, we're gonna play in just a minute, okay? The school system has kids set up in rows. You're sitting at desks for hours upon hours throughout the day. You get a small break for a sometimes not great lunch, and then you're put back at a desk and expected to grasp and retain all this information. By the time you get home, how many times have you asked your kid, what did you learn today? And they say, oh, nothing. Honestly, they probably didn't learn much. And if they did, they probably don't remember because of how long they've been there, all the information that they were given, and then they're told to go home and do homework on top of it. It's just not a good cycle. It's not setting them up for success. And that's another reason why homeschooling is just going to be a better option for us and our family. As I said, my husband and I are still trying to figure out our learning styles and how to really remove a lot of anxiety that we have and things that were triggered at a young age in school. And we don't want to have our kids feel the same way as adults. And we want to try to get a grasp on their learning styles and things like that at their young age. So that's why homeschooling was the best option for us. Now, currently, Caden, as I said, he just turned 5, and we didn't know until recently that we wanted to start homeschooling with him. So he started nursery school last year, which is just a preschool. He started nursery school last year. It was 3 and 4-year-olds. It was 12 kids in the class, and they did a lot of sensory bins, a lot of hands-on activities, things like that, just getting him used to the socialization and used to being away from me. I have been a stay-at-home mom since I had Caden, so all he knows is being home with me. So that was a really good experience for him. Then this year he is actually in what's called VPK. It is a state-funded, through the state of Florida, program, and it's for 4 and 5-year-olds who missed the cutoff for kindergarten. So it's just preschool program. Now again, it's preschool, so he's not in the school system. They're not sitting at desks. They have like little circle tables that they do crafts at. They're learning letters, writing skills, things like that. So it's still a very hands-on interactive program. For an example, they're learning about apples and they're doing some sort of cooking class next week. So it's a great experience for him. He gets to still socialize in that classroom setting without having the desks and textbooks and things like that. So currently he is in VPK 3 days a week, and then the other days we are starting our unschooling journey. So he's part unschool and part VPK currently, and then next year he'd be going into kindergarten and he's going to be full-time unschooling or homeschooling. So that is Caden's situation, and he's thriving right now. And we can see when we're doing homeschool at home on his days away from VPK, he's also thriving in that. And in a later video, I'll explain what homeschooling is, what unschooling is, how you can get started if you want, and all the ins and outs of it. But we just wanted to share a little bit of our journey right now. And we hope you guys stick along and like and subscribe for more videos. Thanks.